Toyota, going off the beaten track to find solutions.
Our preview of the Toyota Dealer 400, the penultimate round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship, continues. And in the special vehicle category battle, it's been a season of two halves. The first part where it was even Stevens, and the second in which Shamir Varayawa bust loose with a vengeance. It's as tight as it can be coming down to the wire. And that's in the overall championship chase as well as the Class A National Crown race. The Mpumalanga race and a good performance there is vital for those with any title hopes whatsoever. And what looked like a three-horse race has now suddenly seen several other crews come into late contention. Varayawa has just a slender 5-point margin over Kali Silbolt, who started off like a house on fire, but has not been as quick latterly. Another former champion, Terence Marsh, is only 12 points back, while Nick Harper, last year's runner-up, is also still in with a shot, provided he pulls off a win in Mpumalanga. With two fine mid-season wins on a long and arduous Toyota 1000 Desert Race, and the next one, the Sun City 400, and then a consolidating second in the Limpopo 400, the total Porter pair, former champion Shamir Varayawa and Siegfried Rousseau, have taken the lead in both the Drivers' and Navigators' Championships. But it's a tenuous lead, and it's a fickle sport at the best of times. The early pace setters, father and son pair Kali and Quinton Silbolt in the Silbolt Racing Bat, started off with a solid second in Darling, and then a huge confidence-boosting win in the second race of the season in the Eastern Cape, but they've been inconsistent since and have battled a litany of small but upsetting and rhythm-breaking car problems. Lurking in third place, 05 champion Terence Marsh and the ever-improving Pieter Groenewald in the Regent Racing Bat will have the guns cocked and ready to blaze away. They espouse the smoothly and slowly approach rather than a dash for glory all-out charge, and this season it's certainly worked out well for them. But just to add a little spice to these proceedings as well, Varayawa and Rousseau and the Silwalts still have to drop a result. So both crews have a 100% finish record this season, and having to drop one brings Marsh and Groenewald right back into the winning frame. Victory for Gary Berthold and his navigator Andre Vermeulen in the big turquoise Atlas Copco Porter, their second of the season on the Limpopo 400, has brought them straight back into the picture as well. And when Gary gets the bit between his teeth, he's one tough customer. Their teammate Nick Harper, partnered by son Ryan in the second Atlas Copco Bat, has admittedly not lately performed up to his own high standards, but he could still pull it off. The Harper combination is an interesting one. Dad Nick is as fit as can be, while Ryan is a former bike racer of the country and has an uncanny knack to read the terrain very well because of it. Ryan is 6th on the Navigator's points log. If anything, the slight advantage probably still lies with Varayawa and Rousseau, who have now worked out how to get the Porter to the line in one piece, while the Silwalts and Marsh with Groenewald need a really good result to apply the pressure. But one wrong turn of the steering wheel at the wrong time, one misread of the road book, and the whole season can turn into naught. With dust almost a racing certainty on the 7th leg of the ABSA Championship Series, this could very well turn into you first scenario, as drivers may want to follow for as long as they can before they get a dust-free ride towards the end of the 400 Ks, when it really, really counts. With so much at stake, it could also be that the tactical new of each team will be tested to the limit and beyond. And there will also be the contrast in styles between the out-and-out chargers like Berthold and Vermeulen, who can certainly make that big old Porter sing along, and those with a slightly more conservative approach, such as Marsh, who bides his time and focuses on bringing the car home in one piece and scoring the points. It's been a while since there have been 4 crews in the hunt for the National Crown so late in the season, and it's a testimony to the hard work that teams have put into ensuring that their chargers and their steeds were in perfect working order from the word go. It's going to be a fascinating contest of sparring and looking for weaknesses. The leading South African Championship contenders could, however, find themselves taking a back seat to a couple of other unfancied crews who could upset the best-laid plans. Take, for instance, reigning champs Evan Hutchinson and Achim Bergman in the black and silver Motorite Bat, who certainly fall into this category. The two-time champ started off with a massive accident in the Western Cape and has been on the back foot ever since. Then there's Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the multicolored Century Racing Bat. They've now cracked 3 consecutive finishes and seem to have settled down as a combination. A win by a non-championship contender such as this could make it very difficult for the frontrunners to recover vitally needed points. Hutchinson and Bergman have had a dreadful season, and a win would go a long way towards restoring a little pride for them. And the Motorite team certainly need a late season fillip. Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar in the revolutionary Second Century Racing Properties car will be absolutely desperate for a win. It's a case of watch this space. Another Regent pairing to keep a beady eye on would be Mike Whitehouse and Matthew Carlson in the distinctive yellow and blue bat, and they too could come into the picture under the right circumstances. Then there's Herman Silwart and Paul Helberg in the all-new Silwart Racing Zarco, but since they debuted the big blue monster, they've had a non-finish, and their confidence could just be ebbing away at the late stage of the season. Rurikon CEO and driver Peter Ruthven and his nav Deval Boshoff are 9th on the championship log and will be trying to keep tabs on Silwart, who's 8 points ahead. How they would love a late race surge and a massive passing maneuver that sticks to haul them up a few places. And it's not just the big engines where it's all to play for. There are some really interesting battles going on in Class B. Here again, just 12 points separate the top 3 drivers, and only 8 points are the difference between 4 title contenders amongst the co-drivers or navigators. Loader Brain in his Rurikon bat leads the Drivers' Championship class race with 76 points from veteran Giel Nul and the Luke Africa Zarco Truggy, who is just 9 points behind. A further 3 points back down the log and you'll find Bez Besaidnout in the silver and blue Adenko bat, and he will be chasing hard. And to complicate matters even further, just 3 points adrift is Johan de Bruin, who co-drives with Bez Besaidnout. He's tied on 64 points with Rudy Brits, who partners Louw de Bruin in the Rurikon car. The duo of Nul and de Kock certainly don't have the pace of the other frontrunners, but sheer consistency and dogged determination has kept them in a title race since the start in Darling's Dust in the Western Cape. Tudo Fugth, who this season has sat alongside both Hendrik and Jan Kraai in the Keymax bat, leads the Co-Drivers' Championship Challenge for the national title. As you can surmise from the points difference, there's not a heck of a lot of breathing space either way. Also very capable of an upset in Class B is the Staffix electric fence racing pair of Mark de Chalane and Peter de Wit. De Chalane takes over the driving duties from Alistair Stubbs, who sits this race out with his wife scheduled to give birth over the weekend, and we wish them well. The 6th event on the calendar, the exhausting Limpopo 400, broke a logjam in Class P. Brothers Johan and Etienne Besaidnout in the Adenko bat have logged down 4 consecutive finishes, and as a result, they now have a 9-point lead over another sibling pair, the brothers David and Gary White, in their trusty little Rurikon bat. With the Sharks from KwaZulu-Natal, the two Dons, Don Thompson and Don Blakey, a further 4 points adrift in the Zarco. But they in turn have had 2 non-finishes in their last 2 outings and may be a little short on confidence right now. Their last non-finish on the Limpopo 400 hit Thompson and Blakey where it hurts most, and they will be looking to bounce back in a big way. However, on a balance of probabilities, there's not much to choose between these 3 experienced crews, except perhaps for the fact that the White brothers will be on a high after their Limpopo win, and thus brimming with confidence. The old war horses Nick Gosler and Richard Carolyn, firmly ensconced in their Men's Clinic International Zarco's yellow, white and black, are out of the championship race, but could affect the fight going on between the 3 title contenders. The old story of 2 dogs in the bone, with a third herring away with it eventually, or would that be a 4th? Richard Schilling, the defending champion, is not lining up, and that has certainly left the other crews sleeping a little easier at night. As things stand, however, the special vehicle category will be a battle royale as the ABSA Off-Road Championship season heads to a climatic finish. There's not a lot to choose from as far as form is concerned, and after all, the sport of off-road racing is tough on vehicle, body, mind, spirit and team. But what captures the soul of this sport so well is that competitors will, at the cost of their own championship hopes, stop to help another racer. Not too many other sports disciplines in which this spirit still exists. You'll certainly see it in action in Lydenburg. No doubt about it, the overall and Class A titles look set for a thrilling climax. There are high stakes on the Toyota Dealer 400, and Shamir Varayawa knows that best of all. He only has a 5-point lead. Expect the gloves to come off between 10 and 11 October. The prologue over a tough 75 long kilometers starts at 11 just outside Lydenburg, while the racing proper gets underway from Lydenburg Toyota on Saturday morning at 8 sharp. Make your way there, it should be great. Until we talk to you from there, you keep it on the road, we'll keep it off-road.
That was the ultimate test.